going on? This is here if you need it. I was thinking this morning, and I was pondering on the idea of we'd rather accept a familiar struggle than a new blessing. If you think about it at first, you're like, what? Then you realize that we do it every day. See, our nervous system, our wiring, just everything about us craves repeatable, easily understandable patterns. Because in a warped physical sense, that translates to safety in the wild, right? Like, if you can predict an outcome, it helps ensure your survival, right? And so, come on, we need that plane. Let's set ourselves up. I talked to air traffic control this morning. They said we'd be good, but they're gonna get a call back. Yeah, we would rather accept a familiar cycle than introduce something new and positive, because that's not as predictable in our, in our system. And I think that's something that I try to think about sometimes when I get worried or confused, is just like, this is just me trying to be safe, and it's misguided. It's not. That's the thing, especially doing work with the ego, is I feel like, at least for me, it's necessary to have compassion for that part of myself, and instead of fighting it and just being like, nah man, you're better than this, this isn't what it's supposed, I try to have compassion for it and go like, hey, look, I know you're trying to keep me safe. I know you're trying to lay out all predictable outcomes, and you're trying to keep me you're trying to keep me alive, right? But the truth of the matter is that's not where faith lives. That faith is where you have to lean on, not your own understanding. Faith is the concept of, what if this turns out better than I could even imagine? And that's poison to an ego that needs to control and needs to feel like it can make sense of things. That's why so much work with oneness and all the Eckhart Tolle books and and the Deepak Chopras of the world is like, that's what the oneness comes into play at. The only way you can get yourself out of these survival loops is to completely remove yourself from that inherent need to control outcome. Flow state is a state of allowing. And so today, it's asking myself about what we allow to exist, and what we decide is really us and our true seed of self, or if it's just these fail safes we built in to keep us in a predictable outcome. Like I said, it sometimes feels like we would rather take a assured destruction than a possible victory. And I think to some degree it's like the ego is a masochist. It likes a little pain. it because it could predict it. It could keep it. It could hold it. It could say, "Oh, I know. I mean, I can control this part because of sample sets, evidence, things in life. I know this outcome." But the trick is, and the thing that I'm always so interested in, is being able to, understand that, look at it, and in spite of that go, okay, cool, like I understand, like thank you, you're trying to keep me safe in a misguided way, but I think we can both agree that we would prefer a different outcome, right? And then within that, it's almost like people do it differently, but for me, it's almost like I'm reasoning with my ego and like these meditations where I'm like, hey, like I hear you, and I get it, and I get the why. I get why we're doing this. But what if just for today, you let the seed of self take the reins? You let that higher I steer the ship and say, what if it could turn out better than we can even imagine? Why need to predict? Why need to understand? And I feel like that tendency helps me a lot. It allows me to recenter and restart. And I feel like, it's Monday for me. I don't know when anyone sees this, but at the start of the week, being able to say to yourself, like, okay, I give myself the grace. I understand why I'm trying to think through all these things, and I understand that this is a game of identifying threats and predictabilities and whatever, but I don't need you today. Today we're gonna let it fly. Today we're gonna be present and act in that presence with the new assurance and an outcome we haven't seen yet. And it's a beautiful thing. So I think today, for anyone seeing this, and myself included, have a little talk with your ego. Say thank you. I get it. I get why you're here. I get the plan. I get why we're doing all this. But if you want me to be the best I can be, you gotta let me do it. You gotta let me jump and let a net appear. So that's really all on my heart today, but it's a new week, so let's lean into it. Let's find ways to help other people. Lean into it. If this message, resonates at all with anybody, echo it. Practice it. Embody it. All right. Have a good one.